Hi and welcome to Federal Bank Let's Talk. Today we are at the Kerala Institute of Medical Sciences, one of Asia's leading tertiary care hospitals. It is a landmark destination that provides world-class healthcare services. Today we have with us the Chairman and Managing Director of KIMS, Dr.M.I.Sahadulla. Let's talk. How was this idea conceived, the setting up of a hospital on this scale with the state-of-the-art technology, infrastructure and super specialities?
The idea came up pretty accidentally, if I can say so. I was outside for about 28-30 years. After my education and some service in Kerala State, I went out to UK and then later on to surgery. And then I decided to come back because I always had my roots in Kerala. So when I decided to come back, I really wanted to start something here. Fairly decently with the experience I have gained outside. And so that it will be good for the people and I can give some service. So when that idea came in, it was on a very small scale. I thought I will make a 100-bed hospital and with my friends and just give a good service in internal medicine because I am an internist. And as the idea grew up and more friends joined together, they said, no, there is room for a multi-speciality hospital of quality. And why don't you try that?
What are some of the facilities that KIMS is proud of?
Yeah, this is a question I often think about myself and also difficult to answer. I should say that it is the quality, patient safety and transparency which has driven us to an amount of success so far. If I talk about one department, then the other departments are going to come and say I didn't mention about that. Having said that, we want to have excellence in most of the multi-speciality departments. Every hospital will have similar departments, I am fully aware of it. However, how different you can be in rendering the service. And this is what I usually call it as healthcare delivery. See, the facilities can be there in plenty. Money can buy anything these days. You can also have the equipments and you can have good doctors. But you have to merge all these things to the satisfaction of the stakeholder. And the most important stakeholder is our patients.
In this era where technology reigns supreme, how do you think the doctor-patient relationship has changed? Are we losing out on the human touch?
Unfortunately, you are correct to a great extent. And we try here not to lose that. When the equipment come, the habit of touching the patient. I always tell my doctors and colleagues and also the students, please touch the patient. And that touch has a curative effect. That is becoming less and less. When I walk into the wards and I see that the doctor's hands are in their pockets, I really feel bad because that is the hands he has to put around the shoulder of the patient and pat on him. So that you are quite right that to some extent it is coming down. But I think we may have to see, we always take examples from outside. United Kingdom was a classical example of clinical examination, interpersonal relationship, and later on they also started deteriorating. They are also in the equipment, but US has kept up a combination, a good combination. Today, before they do the test of MRI, CT or anything else, they have to examine the patient and they have to document a series of things before they ask. Unfortunately, we do not insist on that, or rather we do not really follow that order, and that is where the interpersonal relationship is going away. We try to inculcate, and in this hospital I should say that we definitely maintain a reasonable relationship, and I feel doctors should more and more understand that interpersonal relationship is much above any equipment or any technology in the world.
So what is the role that KIMS has played in promoting medical tourism in the state?
Medical tourism has grown over the years, in the last several years, and we cater now about 37,000 patients per year. Okay. And a good half of them could be Maldivians, and then we get a lot of Arabs, Africans, and also the Caucasians from various European countries. The mechanism grew just because we were harping on the quality quite a bit. And how did the world know that there is an organization here? We had done some marketing, and the executive director of our hospital, Mr. Najib, is also the chairman of a good travel organization, and they also have promoted through various channels they have nationally and internationally. However, the best marketing is always happens by
word of mouth.
Some agency nationally, like Indian NABH or Australian accreditation we had, and in several areas, and this also being a very effective tool. So our names is in the embassies. What is accredited hospitals in India? There are only a very few. So our names are in the embassies, in the various catalogs and things like that, and so that also has played a good role.
What is your take on the recommendations of the Belaram Committee, and if implemented, how will it affect the running of your hospital?
Okay, it's a good question. It's very contemporary. Right. Nursing is unfortunately have not received all their rights. But the approach which the Nursing Association as well as the government have taken are not the ideal ones, I would say. I always talk in all the meetings that nurses should be respected. They should have much better self-esteem. They should be better treated by doctors. In Kerala at least, or in India in general, they are just subservient. And that attitude should go. They should be part of the care. When I go in the morning to take rounds, the person who is talking to me about the patient first should be the nurse. Then government has come out with a minimum wage, and that minimum wage the government has to see that every institution in Kerala follows that. And unfortunately, it is not an easy process. It's a painful process. See, now the nurses are heard only because they have made an association and a big noise and strike and everything. It should not be like that. They should have a nursing director, who can represent their causes. They should have, like a DHS, there should be an important person in the nursing at that level who can speak for them. So there should be a nursing hierarchy. Now, coming to Belaram Commission, I think slowly and steadily, no hospital will be objecting to go into that. But when you open it suddenly, there will be a lot of financial impact. Right. And one has to understand, towards the end of the day, there is an investment component in every hospital, and there is a very important manpower component. Okay, so they have to be happy, and for the customer to be happy, and the investors also have to be happy because they do expect something, at least not a loss. Okay, so when this equation comes, what happens is that if you keep on increasing one, it will reflect the others, and what is going to happen is that we as patients, see, we are all becoming as stakeholders of healthcare. We may have to pay more, so they don't realize. That's one aspect. And the second aspect, unfortunately, is that nurses are not the only patient care providers. Healthcare providers, there are lab technicians, there are radiology technicians, there are physiotherapists. All of them come in that category, but they are minority, whereas nurses are majority. Nobody is upholding the causes of these people. So where are they going to go? So government should not look at it in a piecemeal. And if they are sincere about it, if they want to learn about it, they should have a much more radical approach in studying and solving their problem. I told the other day in a nursing meeting, ask them to select me as a leader, and I will show how their self-esteem and their remuneration will increase.
My father is a very honest man. That makes him successful.
Sometimes you wonder if good people can survive. Upa is a living example. He stands for honesty. എന്ത് ചെയ്താലും ശരിയായിട്ടുള്ളത് ചെയ്യത്തുള്ളൂ, തെറ്റായിട്ടുള്ള ആർക്കും വേണ്ടിയും ചെയ്യത്തില്ല. And that is what makes him what he is. And I am learning from him. ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിലായിരുന്നാലും പ്രൈവറ്റ് ഏജൻസീസിലായിരുന്നാലും എല്ലായിടത്തും നല്ല മനുഷ്യരുണ്ട്. അവരുള്ളത് കൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ വേൾഡ് ഇപ്പോഴും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പോകുന്നത്. And I am really grateful that I am part of this family, and he is such a wonderful man.
You have a thriving nursing college.
Correct.
So what are some of the best practices that you follow in the college?
Nurses need not be just the patient care providers alone. They can be administrators, they can go into quality. They can, recently there is a nurse who have gone into
The civil
service.
services.
So why not? Doctors are going to civil service. So equal opportunities have to come up. So we give a career guidance for them too. In fact, I would like to see that we open up a college where international way of teaching of nurses should come into action. Because I can just say an example. When I went to UK about 30 years ago, and more than that, 35 years ago, and when I walked into the ward and examined a patient, without asking the permission of the nurse in charge, she came and said, who are you? So I said, I am Dr. Sahadulla, I am a registrar here. I'm sorry, you haven't taken my permission, you cannot touch the patient. So I apologized, and then she said, okay, fine, continue. And so that should be the way, things should develop. Probably that's a little extreme, but there should be a much better than what we are doing at this point of time.
Over the years, you have moved from playing a medical role to more of an administrative role. So what has prompted this shift?
In my last job with Aramco, Arabian American Oil Company, I was a clinician quite some time, and even a great extent. But I also had administrative responsibilities. So without planning for any major role as for administration later on, I took a MBA from University of Hull in England, and that gave me some more insight into a non-medical aspects of management. See, I believe that there are two kinds of leadership should exist in medicine. One is a clinical leadership. Every clinician cannot become a manager even if he is good. So, but clinically he can develop that department, his area. So that is called clinical leadership. And people who have a leadership quality and management quality should move into management. And so when the opportunity came, I was tested in management, and but mind you, there was a lot of advantage being a clinician and a manager,
in a hospital,
in a hospital, because the doctors are the most difficult people to manage in a hospital, and the most important people. And so being a clinician, I knew their problems, and they also understood me better, and so our mutual exchanges of ideas were much better, and so I could be a better manager. That's what I think.
Other than work, what are your interests?
Most of my time I spent in the hospital and related to my work, because I believe work is worship. However, I'm very much interested in sports and games. So cricket is, I do not play cricket, but I often watch cricket. But I'm a badminton player. I also used to play a lot of tennis. I'm a Trivandrum Tennis Club member, but do not play much now. But badminton I play still. And I am also the Trivandrum Badminton Association president. So I help out the people in some ways I can. And then of course my pastime goes a lot with my grandchildren.
Okay.
And so I
that
love
brings
them.
me to your family.
Yeah,
so tell us about a little bit about them.
Yeah, I have two boys, my children, and one is a doctor,
Okay, what's
and
his
the elder
name?
one, and
What's
his name is Sahadulla, and he lives in Boston. He is an internist like me, and he also has gone into management of an organization there. So he is one of the regional directors in the US, and so he has got 3 kids and three grandchildren, and all of them are boys. Okay. And so my second son is a manager here in this hospital, and his name is Sami, we call him Sami, so Sami Sahadulla, and he has 2 boys. Yusuf.
So it's a men's only zone.
Yeah, and Mohammed, and they are my pastime, really speaking. And I spend a lot of time with them, go for swimming with them, and weekends is occupied. And then rest of the time I also spend in reading.
Your wife?
My wife is, probably more busy than me, and she is working in this hospital as, the coordinator of emergency medicine, and also of all the junior doctors and family medicine. So she is also the chairman of the Pharmacy and Therapeutic Committee.
What's
She has
her
a
name?
handful to do,
Okay.
but we have a good time. She comes here and works, and then after that we have a good family time. So Dr. Zohra, she is a doctor and a postgraduate in pathology, but turned into an administrator like me because of the need of the hour.
What are some of the future expansion plans of KIMS?
We are looking at expansion mainly in Kerala and also probably in some of the states in South India. And here we are looking at a hub and spoke type. So a central hospital in Trivandrum and few smaller centers in the periphery which can be feeding feeder zones. And the same thing can happen in Kochi. We have got a hospital in Kochi, and not so big as this, about 150 bed hospital, and we can have a few primary centers around which also can be a hub and spoke wheel pattern. Here we have a small center hospital in Belaram, and that also works well. And we have an excellent wellness center, because we give a lot of importance in this hospital as well as outside for wellness. And in Kavadiyar we have a wellness center which is also reasonably running well. The other expansion plan is that we have a few centers in the GCC, 2 hospitals, one in Oman and one in Bahrain, and 6 medical centers, and in Dubai, in Bahrain, in 2 in Saudi Arabia, and one in Qatar. So we have got these centers, and there should be further expansion into that.
Is there some message that you would like to give to future doctors and entrepreneurs?
There are no shortcuts for anyone in this world, but if you are smart and hard work, certainly there is room for everyone. So doctors especially, I should say that they should be really steadfast in working hard and also in their learning process. Many times the youngsters, I feel these days, they want to cut the duties and take the minimum duties, sit at home and learn for examinations and entrances, which I think it is an absolute waste of their talents. They are all very highly talented people, and they should be working to learn. So you have to learn by your own hard work and be honest. And to entrepreneurs, I would say that we usually have a belief that ethical means you can't do business, and I do not believe so. And we in this institution have proven that by adopting ethical means, by not taking any unethical aspects of giving commission and all those things, you can still survive.
We have a small rapid fire round, which is quick answers to quick questions.
Okay. Oh my God, I should be prepared for that.
One person who's inspired you the most?
My father has inspired me very much.
Your birthday?
June the 4th.
Food that would break your strictest diet?
Chocolates.
One habit that you would like to get rid of?
Too many phone calls.
Your favorite holiday destination?
I like to go to hill stations.
What makes you cry?
Nothing makes me really cry, but I become very emotional seeing the sufferings of human beings, even today. Even having seen
So much.
hundreds and thousands, suffering in front of me.
Your favorite color?
Blue.
Your favorite brands, your attire?
I like Marks and Spencer and Arrow, Polo,
Footwear?
Hush Puppies,
Perfume?
Cross.
One song that you would like to dedicate to your wife?
ഒരു കൊച്ചു സ്വപ്നത്തിൻ
ചിറകുമായവളത്തെ. What are your wife's favorites in terms of attire?
Saris and salwar kameez.
Her favorite food?
I think she liked desserts very much.
Favorite color?
It's green.
It's been really nice talking to you, and this is a small token of appreciation from Rose Bowl.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm
Thank you.
really honored. Oh, really? So, did you make it just now?
Got it customized.
I know. All right, it's great, wonderful. I really appreciate, And not only that, you interviewed, you also give me a token of your appreciation.
Right,
Is
and
great.
these are chocolates to break your diet if you are on a diet.
All right, I said about chocolate, and you already brought chocolate. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your interview, and it was very pleasant experience. Thank you.
ആസ് എ ബ്രദർ എന്നുള്ള ബേസിലും കമ്മിറ്റി ചെയർമാൻ എന്നുള്ള ബേസിലും ഞങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും റെസ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതും പുള്ളിയുടെ അഡ്വൈസ് എടുക്കുന്നതും ബാക്കിയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ പുള്ളിയുടെ ഗൈഡൻസ് വെച്ചാണ് എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും ചെയ്യുന്നത്. കാരണം വെച്ചാൽ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലായാലും ബാക്കിയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം ഞങ്ങൾ പുള്ളിയുടെ ചെയ്യുന്നത്.